Well, hello. I'm Misha. I'm one of our teaching pastors. And if you're watching online, thank you for tuning in. I'm glad to be here with you today. We're in the second week of this preaching series talking about unhurrying our lives. And if you tuned in last week, you know that we talked about how the busyness and the hurry of the world we live in, they harm our connection with God and each other. So we challenged everyone last week to slow down and spend some time connecting with God and friends. So how'd you do? How'd it go for you? I can tell you how it went for me. Actually, this has been something I've been working on for the past couple decades. How do we slow down and spend time with God and friends? And it's tough for me because I'm a morning person. Like I'm like a wake up before the sun morning person. And I like to wake up already in a hurry. Like I'm ready to get stuff done as soon as my eyes are open. I like to get stuff done before the sun. But what I've realized over the past couple years is that because I have this nature of waking up already in a hurry, it's important for me to be intentional about slowing down and spending time with God. And so what I've kind of started to do is really over the past few years especially is I start every morning by making a pour over cup of coffee because it is the slowest way to make coffee and it tastes the best. And then I take that coffee, I sit on the couch and I read my Bible. And sometimes I'll journal and then I'll go to our church's prayer app and I'll pray for you. I'll pray for our church. I'll pray for friends and family. And then I'll take my empty coffee cup and I'll put it in the sink as a way to symbolize, okay, now the rest of the day can begin. And it's this simple thing. It seems like just a little thing that I do, but this daily discipline has absolutely changed my relationship with God. It's changed my relationship with others, especially my family. And it's even changed my relationship with myself in some ways. So what about you? Did you slow down this week? Did you spend some of that slowed down time connecting with God and friends? Last week, we challenged everyone to slow down, but for some of you in particular, we challenged you to slow down enough to come to Jesus and put your trust in him for the very first time. And across our 7 locations, 11 people made a first-time decision to trust Jesus and be baptized last week. So we celebrate stuff like that around here together. 11 people trusted Jesus for the very first time. And if you are someone who's never put your trust in Jesus, if you've never said yes to Jesus, my hope, my prayer is that today you will do that. Today, we're going to continue this conversation about unhurrying our lives. And if last week was about slowing down, this week is about coming to a complete stop. Today, we're going to talk about the disciplines of silence and solitude. And specifically, the objective for today is that we see that when we withdraw in silence and solitude in order to connect with God, we can experience rest even in the midst of our hurried culture. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at how Jesus taught and modeled this, because it seems the busier Jesus got, the noisier the noisier the world that surrounded his life and ministry got, the more important it seems for him to withdraw and spend time with God. And so we're going to talk about how Jesus did that. And then at the end of the message, I'm going to show you how this sort of rest is connected to what Jesus did on the cross. And along the way, what I hope that we discover is that living an unhurried life is about more than just clearing up our schedules and getting some more downtime. That actually unhurrying our lives is about quieting our minds and our hearts so that we can experience the fullness of God. That's what silence and solitude do. They quiet the noise of the world around us so that we even can connect with God and each other. But this isn't easy because we talked about this a little bit last week. We all have a problem. We have a hurry problem. And part of that hurry problem is we have this hustle mentality, this hustle culture. We want to get stuff done. And so we jam pack our schedules. We have workaholism. We're addicted to our phones. Like every morning we wake up and every minute of that day is already decided what we're going to do. And even if we find time to sit down, what do? We tend to scroll through social media. We play games. We binge watch TV. We try to respond to the dozens or hundreds or thousands of notifications we have sitting on our phones, none of which offer rest, none of which help us connect with God. So part of our hurry problem is this hustle mentality. We gotta get stuff done. But another part of it is something we'll call the noise of life. Okay, Bernie Krause is a name you probably haven't heard, but Bernie Krause, you've probably heard his work. He's a soundscape ecologist, which is just a fancy term that means he records nature sounds for movies and TV. And he's been like the best in the business since the 1960s. Okay, 2013, Bernie Krause gave a TED Talk. And in that TED Talk, he said back in 1968, in order to get 1 hour of undisturbed sound, so no engines humming, no planes flying over, no unnatural sound, to get 1 hour, it took him about 10 hours of recording time. In 2013, to get that same 1 hour of natural sound, it took him 1,000 or more hours of recording. And that was 10 years ago. I mean, what does that tell us about how our world is changing? We have all this external noise, but then we also have all this internal noise as well. And the internal noise is like a constant hum in our minds of ideas and dreams and comparisons and worries and insecurities. Am I doing enough? Am I successful enough? Am I ever going to get to do the things I always dreamed of doing when I was younger? Is he the one? Is she the one? What if I was more like that person? What if I would have never done that? All this internal noise leads to burnout, anxiety, depression, restlessness. I mean, have you ever been in bed at night exhausted, but you can't sleep because your mind is racing? Me too. Like, I know what that feels like. In fact, for me, it usually looks like this. Like, there's either some tension at work, or maybe I had family time that day, but I was moody and disconnected, and I only get, so much time with my family, and so now how am I gonna make up that time? And so what I do is I lay in bed, and I replay the day. And I what if I would have done this? And I have entire conversations that I wish I would have had. And when I get through the entire day, I'm further from sleep than I was before. So I'll throw on the TV, and that doesn't help. So then I'll scroll through sports articles on my phone, and when that doesn't tire me out, I lay there and think about how my lack of sleep today is gonna affect my day tomorrow, and it's a mess, and I'm a mess. And my guess is that each of us has some version of that we go through. There's all this external noise. There's all this internal noise. No wonder we struggle to hear from God. No wonder we struggle to connect with God and each other. We have a hurry